Hello friends, welcome to everyone on my channel Story Station. Today, I'm brought to you on another new interesting episode of r/AmITheA. Before starting the video, if you are new on my channel, please subscribe to the channel and also press the bell icon so that you can get my upcoming video notification first. So let's start the video. Story posted by Nolan Jerodoma. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepdaughter to go ask her real dad when she asked me to pay for her plane tickets? I married my wife Elise 12 years ago. She has a 16-year-old daughter, Anna, from her previous relationship, and we have a 7-year-old son as well. From pretty much the beginning of our relationship, Anna and I have never gotten along. I don't know how to emphasize that it is not because of a lack of trying. She just does not like me. When she was young, she was just scared of me and afraid I'd tear their family apart. Nowadays it's more of a neutral dislike rather than strong antipathy, so I suppose that's progress. Elise is a stay-at-home mother, so she relies on me for income. As a result, I pay for everything for Anna: food, clothes, volleyball fees, field trips. I take an interest in her hobbies. I go to her games. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I try my damn hardest to be the stepfather I can. But it's so hard. Always giving me curt one-word responses. Always having to have an attitude. She does things to get a rise out of me. Staying out late reeking of booze. Always trying to sneak boys in. Typical rebellious stuff. But I always let her know I love her, and I'm there for her in hopes of her shithead teenager phase pasts. The opposite is true for her biological father. She adores him. Can't tell you why. He never goes to her games. Always makes excuses for why he doesn't want to see her. He forgot her birthday last month and she cried herself to sleep. Well, anyways, Friday, I came to her room to check her phone and read her messages. Not a permanent thing, but she's been caught sneaking out twice in the last month, so this is her punishment. I ask for the phone. She says no. I'm tired of you checking my shit. Leave me alone. I tell her I'm not asking again, and she goes, just duck off already. You're not my real dad. You never have been. Stop acting like you can tell me what to do before getting up and slamming the door. Like I said, guys, I'm tired. Tired of the blatant disrespect. Of being the verbal punching bag while still providing more for her than anyone else in her family. We haven't really talked since until this morning during breakfast. She asked if I could pay for her plane tickets so she could see her boyfriend cross state. Like I said, her mom doesn't work and her dad is a pose, so I normally would be the one to cough up the money. Not this time. I responded, go ask your real dad. I could tell she was hurt. Tears swelled up from her face and she excused herself from the table. My wife took me aside later and said my comment was extremely disrespectful. I said if anything's disrespectful, it's her treating me like a doormat and a credit card, and I will no longer tolerate this treatment in my house. I told her we don't have to be friends, but if she can't at least be cordial to me or respect my position as an authority figure, she can find someone else to pay for her non-essentials. Am I the a-hole? Now, Redditors gives the best suggestion to the OP on this situation. Not the a-hole, but you barely mentioned your wife, her mother. Why is she not handling this with her daughter? You've been in her daughter's life since she was 4, as stepdad, and your wife has continued to let this fester. She's continued to let her daughter disrespect you and continued to mislead her daughter about her father's true character. This is all kinds of wrong. Not the a-hole. Maybe your daughter can have a first-hand look at how much words can hurt. I think you should go to her, apologize. Never mind the fact she doesn't deserve it. You're the adult, be the bigger person, and set firm, fair, and strict rules about behavior going forward. Tell her what you told us, that you don't have to be friends, but you need her to respect your authority and at least be cordial to each other. Maybe ask her why she doesn't like you. Ask if there's anything you can do to support her better. And most importantly, remind her that you love her and will be there for her. Teenage girls are hard, man. Keep trying. A decade from now, she'll be grateful that you chose the high road. Everyone sucks here. Eli sucks for not dealing with this budding problem 12 years ago. Anna sucks for not appreciating the material things you provide. You suck for stooping to Anna's level and claiming to not understand why she feels a connection to her biological father. I also take issue with you going through her phone. If you are genuinely concerned for her physical safety, talk it over with Eli's and let Eli's make the call. I think there are very few circumstances that justify violating someone's privacy, and from what you've written here it was more of a power move than anything else. Well, I mean 16 years old is plenty old enough to know that actions have consequences, and so do words. The whole reading through her phone this kind of makes you the a-hole. What you said to her I'm going to say not the a-hole. I would try and sit down and have a talk with her again and explain exactly what you just explained here and see if she realizes how she has been acting. Everyone sucks here. You, not for not paying for the airline ticket, but how you handled it. You should have just said no. Your wife for allowing the teen's bad behavior and attitude, and her bio dad for not being very involved. And yes, the teen is wrong for her behavior and attitude. Yes, you can't expect perfection from a teenager, but she's old enough to know that she should behave better and try to do better. The family should see a family counselor to improve the situation. Everyone sucks here. While I can understand how frustration triggered the "go ask your real dad" comment, you've likely just set back any progress you might have made to zero. I'm not saying you should have paid for the tickets, you shouldn't, but now Anna is going to feel justified in her dislike of you. That said, Eli's needs to step the hell up. It sounds like she's happy for you to be the bad guy enforcing discipline, so she can be the good fun parent and not stopping Anna's disrespectful behavior towards you. I think a long calm chat is in order about how this current situation is not helping anyone. However, I'd be very careful about making it sound like your financial support is dependent on some show of affection. Maybe write down what you want to say beforehand. Everyone sucks here. You didn't need to stop to her level. Throwing back comments like "go ask your real dad" to me seems juvenile. However, I do see your point, especially after her previous outburst. And at the end, if the day it's your money, and I don't think you should feel compelled to buy the tickets. My parents didn't even like driving me 20 minutes to see my boyfriend. Before I got mobile myself, they would never have paid for my plane tickets. Maybe have a talk with her and her mum about her maybe getting a job to pay for them, so she can have some ownership and take more responsibility through that. If she's old enough to fly cross country to see a boyfriend, she should be old enough to get a job to support the lifestyle she wants. Now, OP have added something. Edit, just adding a TLDR at the request of a comment. My stepdaughter continuously disrespects me and my authority. She told me that I'm not her real dad. Later on, she asked me to buy her tickets, and I told her to go ask her real dad. Am I the a-hole? And to add more context, my wife is a saint. She does stick up for me when Anna says something rude or snarky. She just said stooping to her level was inappropriate. But she's a wonderful mom and tries her best. Story posted by Throwaway Older Bro 534. Am I the a-hole for cutting my elderly parents off financially after they kicked out my gay brother? I'm a 24-year-old software engineer originally from an Arab Muslim country. I moved to the United States with my parents when I was 5 years old, and my younger brother was born here. He is now 16. A year ago, my brother came out to me as gay. It wasn't a surprise to me. I've always been very close to my brother. We grew up in a majority white town, and my brother was picked on frequently as a kid for being Arab, and on top of that he's always been very shy and quiet, so I was the number one person my brother confided in while growing up. I've known he was gay for years, but I'll let him tell me when he felt comfortable. When he told me, I was obviously completely supportive. I told him I would always love him and support him, and I couldn't wait to see my brother-in-law someday. Jokingly, my brother cried and hugged me. Our parents, however, are very homophobic. I know you guys in America have experience with homophobia too, but trust me when I say you have no idea the extent of it in fundamentalist Muslim countries. My parents are in their 70s and are both retired. They spent most of their careers back in their home countries and never built any savings in America due to financial strains. We live in their house, but I'm the primary breadwinner and I make good money as a software engineer. My job isn't one that requires me to be physically at work, so I have fortunately avoided any negative financial effects from the pandemic. Yesterday, my brother decided to come out to our parents. Obviously, this wasn't an impulse decision but something he spent a lot of time deliberating over. Our parents did not react well. They refused to have anything to do with him anymore and disowned him. Not only that, they kicked him out of their house. He's been staying with one of his friends. My parents refused to change their minds no matter what, and knowing the traditions of the people around us where we came from, I do not think they ever will. In response, I told my parents I will no longer be financially supporting them. I've contacted some apartment companies and have decided to move out with my brother. I make good money, so I can afford a 2-bedroom apartment for us no problem. I did not think this would be a controversial move, but our relatives, even those in America, have been blowing up my phone telling me I'm an a-hole for cutting off my elderly parents during a pandemic. My response is they kicked my brother out during a pandemic. I'm not leaving him on the streets no matter what, but even more so during a pandemic. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? TLDR. Elderly Muslim parents have kicked out my gay brother. In response I cut them off financially. Now, Redditors gives the best suggestion to the OP on this situation. Not the a-hole. If they can kick your 16-year-old brother out during a pandemic, you can get out of there too. It's not like you're kicking them out of their home, you're just leaving. They couldn't expect you to live with them and support them forever, especially if they are going to pick and choose when their own children deserve their love. Not the a-hole. Why should you be expected to love and provide for them unconditionally when they have made it very clear that they aren't willing to do the same for their children? They decided family does not mean enough for them to even try and work something out. Don't come crying when your children respond in kind. If you weren't straight they would have reacted the exact same way, and I bet nobody, except super homophobic people, would expect you to care for them then. Not the a-hole. They had to know you'd react like this. I've spent some time in Muslim countries, so I know how deep homophobia can be, but you guys have been here in the US for some time now. They can't have assumed you would cut him off. Even if they couldn't support him being gay, they shouldn't have made him homeless in a pandemic. Let some of those angry relatives support them now. Hey man. As a Muslim queer kid who has been too afraid to come out for 10 years because I don't want to be disowned, this hit me hard. Not the a-hole at all. I can't thank you enough for breaking down the homophobic stereotypes and letting your brother know it is okay to be your true authentic self, and there are people in our community that aren't so set on our hateful parent ways. Not the a-hole. They kicked him out for something he can't control, and even if they're strong in their beliefs, he's still their son. They had a choice to accept him or kick him out. That I disagree with. Love your kids, and you had a choice to cut them off. I agree with your decision, and I hope this is a chance for them to open their eyes and accept your brother as he is, a likely kind and wonderful person who should be accepted for who he is. Also, would you mind telling your brother that an internet stranger is very proud of him for coming out, please? It's a very difficult thing he did, and he should be proud of himself. Not the a-hole. However, would you be willing to send them just enough money to support the bare minimums, but go no contact? Just food or /rent/mortgage? I ask this because while what they did was hideous, you are going to have to live with any negative consequences that happen to your parents if they don't have your support. There are going to be people who post, "Screw them, it's not your fault if they go homeless." While that's true, would you be okay with that? You sound like a compassionate guy, and people like that tend to feel guilty or have regrets if their actions result in harm regardless if they are at fault. I think going no contact will be more poignant, and it will leave the door open for a family reconciliation down the road if your parents can ever accept your brother. You Of course, know the situation best, and either way, you are not the a-hole. Story posted by Calaboo. Am I the a-hole for not honoring the girl code? I was friends with a girl named Jenny in middle and high school. Our friendship was tumultuous. She tended to say mean things and could be very judgmental. She called me skinny bitch a lot despite me asking her not to. She also talked about me behind my back a lot. I stayed friends with her because I had low self-esteem and didn't want to be completely friendless. It's pathetic, I know. After we graduated, I got my own apartment and job, then started college. We were about 18 to 19. She met a guy named David online and they decided to meet for an outing they chose not to call a date. It wasn't going super well, so Jenny had David come with her to my apartment to watch movies. She liked him, but he just wanted to be friends, and told her as much. I played wingman regardless, trying to help her out. Days later, David starts texting me. Jenny admits she gave him my number because he asked for it, and she thought we had a lot in common. I'm furious at first, but decide to let it go. At first, I don't like David, but as we talk, we have a spark. He asked me out, and I said no. I knew Jenny still liked him. He reminded me they were just friends. He kept asking, and I said I wanted to clear things with Jenny first. So I called her, asking for her blessing before I'll say yes. Jenny went nuts. She said I was a horrible friend, a slut, a bitch, and couldn't believe I would stab her in the back like this. I tried to apologize and explain that I never meant for it to happen, but she wouldn't hear it. She said I was not allowed to date David ever because she liked him. She and her sister started posting awful stuff about me online, including pictures of me talking about how ugly and slutty I was. Then they started calling me at all hours, leaving mean messages. I tried to appeal to our other friends, but they agreed with her for breaking the girl code. Since my friends already hated me now, I went out with David anyway, and we are still together over a decade later. I have not spoken to Jenny or our friends in years now. This has bothered me for a long time. I've always tried to be a good friend and not pull any shady stuff. So, now I ask you, am I the a-hole? Now, Redditors gives the best suggestion to the OP on this situation. Not the a-hole. They met online and went on one date / not a date, which didn't go well. That is not a relationship. That should be subject to the girl code. She gave him your number. It's almost like she set you up to be in this situation, like some bizarre social experiment. She sounds like she was a pretty awful friend and you're well shot of her and your other friends, which sounds like they were fed a load of BS about it all. Not the a-hole. David had made it clear he only wanted to be friends with Jenny. She doesn't own him and can't decide who he dates. Any potential a-holeness is wiped clean from you being together 10 years later. You tried to handle it maturely, but she firmly went into a-hole territory by slamming you online. Full disclosure, I was in a similar situation, but my Jenny said yes to me dating my husband. She was hurt. I only found this out afterwards, but she was respectful, and we are still friends 12 years later. Not the a-hole. Jenny gave him your number for no other reason than that he asked for it. Why was she so surprised that the reason he asked for it was because he thought about getting to know you better? That you held off on saying yes before asking her about it shows that you were her wingman the whole time, and if she tore into you that badly, she was just taking you for granted the entire time you knew her. Not the a-hole. If she had a serious relationship with David that ended, or there was the possibility of them getting together, I would agree with the girl code. This is insane though. Every person someone has a crush on, whether the other person reciprocates the feelings or not is off limits. Forgot those jokers with the grain on your long-term relationship with David. While I get what you were going for, asking for permission probably wasn't the best option because it implies that she has a say in what happens. It's really good of you to give her a heads up, but you should have mentioned that it was just a heads up. You don't need her blessing. A solid not the a-hole. Sorry that she reacted so badly. Not the a-hole. That I like this person, so they are legally mine mentality is incredibly childish. I think Summer Glow is gorgeous, doesn't mean I can just turn up at her house and insist that she's obligated to marry me, regardless of her own feelings, because I like her. It's not even as though he dated Jenny for a bit. He openly told her he wasn't interested. Your ex-friends sound like idiots. You and David both are well shot of them. Not the a-hole. I'm so sick of this idea that people own the rights to date someone. Yes, if you just had a breakup with your long-term, so your friends should be respectful enough not to immediately start dating them, but this girl wasn't even with the guy. Maybe I'm a weirdo cause I've also stayed friends with all my exes, but when my first ever real boyfriend and one of my good friends started dating, my only thought was that I was surprised they hadn't gotten together sooner. Not the a-hole. Some people are ridiculously strange about girl code. I met my husband online. Turns out he had dated an old acquaintance of mine back in high school. They went to high school together, but I didn't meet either of them until later in life. Totally different worlds and many years apart. Heard from mutual friends that she totally hates me now, and we ran into each other recently, and she completely ignored us both. It was amazing. My favorite story. So friends, how did you like today's story? Comment below, and if you find the video interesting, then like and share this video. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, press the subscribe button and also hit the bell icon, because I keep making videos like this. So friends, that's all in today's video. I meet you again in new video with new story. Till then, take care of your and keep watching the story station.